Cybersecurity is one of the hottest career fields on the planet right now, and while many other careers have actually gotten worse because of AI, in cybersecurity there's 3.5 million unfilled roles. There's also six-figure salaries at the entry level, and companies are begging for talent. And yet, most people who are trying to break into cybersecurity are still struggling to find jobs. Today, we're fixing that. We're going to be tearing apart the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certificate, and I'm going to be giving you the raw truth about whether this certificate is actually worth it when it comes to your time and money for you specifically. Okay, so this certificate is obviously not for everybody, but it is really good for certain types of people, and that's what we're going to find out in this video, whether you're a good fit for it or not. So you're going to be getting both sides today. We're going to be going over 7 different categories, and we're going to rate each category from 1 to 10 and give a final verdict at the end. So if you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button, and let's jump into it right now. Okay, so let's start out with an overview of what the program actually is. It's 9 courses. It's taught by actual Google experts, not some random freelancer who took a boot camp and decided to start teaching, right? So we're talking about the CISO of Google Fiber, technical program managers, mid-level security engineers who defend real systems every single day. And these people do this for a living. And over 1.3 million learners are already enrolled. And it has a 4.8 star rating from nearly 65,000 reviews on Coursera. And you know what that tells me? People aren't enrolling and bouncing. They're finishing it and rating it highly. And here's what makes this recent version genuinely different from what people reviewed before. Course 8 has been updated with AI training from Google experts, using AI to understand complex security frameworks, but also to identify bugs in code and prioritize security alerts. AI is changing how attacks are built and how defenses work. This is not optional knowledge anymore, and Google is making sure that you are updated with the latest and greatest in AI knowledge. And this is one of the things that I really love about Coursera is they are very quick to jump on whatever the newest trends are, because again, this is made by the actual companies that are hiring people, right? These companies have a vested interest in teaching you the skills that they want you to know so that they can then hire you in the future. The reason that these companies and Coursera partnered together to do these certificates is because colleges were not creating people who actually have the skills that these companies wanted to hire. Now, the next update that Coursera did is course 9, and this is AI-powered job searching. This course did not exist before, and Google built it specifically for the new hiring landscape. And not only that, it's exceptional for a beginner level program. Now, by the way, if you want to check out this certificate and follow along and look at the reviews and all that kind of stuff, I went ahead and I linked it in the description in the pinned comment below. I am affiliated with Coursera. If you do end up joining Coursera and buying anything from them, I will likely get a small payment from them for that. However, if you don't want me to get a payment, that's kind of sad, but you can always just go to Google and look it up yourself and I'll get over it. No problem whatsoever. Now let's talk about section 2, which is time to completion. Now, Coursera says it will take you 6 months and under 10 hours a week. And their FAQ literally says that most learners finish for under $300, which implies roughly 6 months at that pace, or actually less than 6 months. Generally speaking though, Coursera overestimates how long each course takes because other people say that they finish the course faster than what Coursera puts on the website. Like this guy who completed it in 16 days. Jake Lee, a software engineer with existing tech knowledge, finished the entire program in 16 days while working full-time and finishing a university project simultaneously. One Reddit user says that he completed it in just 2 weeks. However, the Open to Study reviewer noted that learners already familiar with networking, Linux, SQL, and Python basics are probably looking at about 2 to 3 months. But overall, I'm going to give this one a score of 9 out of 10. It's incredibly flexible, incredibly compressible. You can finish it in weeks or months and then move on to Security Plus faster than someone in a traditional program, and that is real leverage. So when it comes to speed, this is very fast.
Hey guys, in the editing process right now, but quick pause to give you a special deal from Coursera. So Coursera is launching its special promo offer, and this is where learners will get access to thousands and thousands of courses, and all of this for 40% off the annual subscription. Details are on the screen and you can check it out. And I remember last year they had a similar promo to this, and I mentioned it in one of my videos, and a bunch of people got into it and they were super happy with it, but a bunch of people missed out on it, and they basically commented over and over again like, hey, when is this going to be available? Well, hey, it's available right now, right? And it's only going to be there for a limited amount of time. So if you're on the fence about this is the absolute best time to jump into Coursera Plus. You do not want to miss out on this. So it's going to be down in the description as well as the pinned comment below. So go down there to check it out. But anyways, back to the video.
Now let's talk about the cost. That's right. Let's talk money, because I know that some of you are weighing this against other bills right now and genuinely trying to figure out if this investment makes sense. So here is a straight breakdown. And by the way, this may change change in the future, but at this particular time in the US and Canada, it is $49 a month after the 7-day free trial. And that's one advantage, by the way, of clicking my link in the description is you do get a 7-day free trial. But then after that, it's going to be $49 a month. And Coursera's own FAQ says that most learners complete it for under $300 total. But that's a wide range. That could be anywhere from $49 to $300. But based on what we covered, motivated learners finish way faster than 6 months. So motivated learners pay way less than $300. Finish in 1 month, that's going to be $49 out of pocket. Finish in 2 months, that's $98. But here's the part that genuinely floored me when I was doing this research. According to Google's own website, graduates of the Google Cybersecurity Certificate can access the CompTIA Security Plus exam and additional training at a discounted price. And Google themselves are pointing you straight towards Security Plus. That is not a third-party review saying it, that's Google. Now, just for context here, I think a lot of you already know this, but CompTIA is kind of the gold standard in a lot of different IT or cybersecurity related careers. But do the math with me right now. The program costs $49 a month. You finish it in 1 month and you're already saving money on the most recognized entry-level cybersecurity exam in the world, which is CompTIA Security Plus. And you also earn a dual credential when you complete both the Google certificate and the Security Plus exam. You can share both with potential employers. That's 2 credentials and 1 structured path starting at $49. On top of all that, when you finish, you get a free one-on-one job coaching, mock interviews, and interview practice tool. And you get access to the Career Circle job board, all included for as little as $49. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a score of 9 out of 10. It's affordable, it's flexible, and when you factor in the Security Plus discount, this thing can literally pay for itself if you move fast. Now, I've done a lot of other reviews on this channel. I've covered the Security Plus in other certificate videos. It is a phenomenal certification to get as well, but the truth is a lot of people aren't ready right off the bat, and this can be a really nice segue to being ready for the Security Plus certification. And I think that's absolutely brilliant that if you were going to do the Security Plus, you'd likely spend a lot of time studying for it anyways, and you might as well study for it while also getting another certificate that's respected because it's from a big company like this one. Okay, now let's talk about demand. And I need to split this section into 2 because there are 2 completely separate conversations here, and most reviews mix them up and confuse you. So let's talk about conversation 1, which is demand for cybersecurity professionals now. And then let's talk about conversation 2, which is demand for this specific certificate. So let's start with the field. Right now, there are over 13,000 active job openings for cybersecurity analysts in the United States alone. And the open study review cited in Cybercrime magazine calling cybersecurity a near zero unemployment marketplace for those with the right credentials. And they noted that there are 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity roles in the industry. 3.5 million available slots that you can fill in. With that being said, you do need to actually have the skills, right? They're not just looking for people that are warm bodies. You actually have to have the skills. Now let's talk about the certificate specifically. The overall score is going to be 8 out of 10 because the field demand is exceptional and growing, and the certificate specific demand needs Security Plus stacked on top of it to unlock most of the hiring power. And there's a reason for this, and it's called liability. This certificate could be like the best in the world when it comes to education. But if a company hires somebody and they end up messing up and data gets breached or something like that, it's gonna look a heck of a lot better on the company's side if the person had the gold standard certificate, aka the CompTIA certification, versus somebody only having the Google Cybersecurity cert. That is just the reality of the situation. Companies want to protect themselves. They don't want to look bad if something happens. And so a lot of the time you do have to get whatever the gold standard certification is, even if that certification isn't technically as good as other ones. And this is something that a lot of people in this industry, as well as many other industries and verticals, argue about, like, oh, this certification is better, that certification is better. But the truth is, the only thing that really matters, or at least 80% of what matters, is what companies actually think about the cert. That's really the only thing that matters when it comes to you actually getting hired. The knowledge portion of it is valuable, but it's not nearly as valuable as it actually moving the needle and helping you get hired. And that's just the sad reality of the situation. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's the way that it is. So both realities are reflected in this score. And now another reason I gave this an 8 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10 is right now the job market isn't nearly as good as it has been in past years when I have reviewed these certs. The job market right now is quite bad across the board. I think a lot of it has to do with AI. However, there is a balancing caveat to this as well, and that is if you are one of the people who embraces AI, it's likely going to be even easier for you to get a job than in past years. But if you're one of those people who kind of pushes against AI and it's like, I hate AI, it's taking jobs, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I totally understand that sentiment. I get it. But if you're one of those people, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get a good job. It's just that simple. So I highly recommend that you embrace AI. That's what this cert is doing. And that is one of the reasons why I give this an 8 out of 10. Okay, next section, which is salary. So here are the numbers, and I'm going to give them to you straight. Coursera's data from the Lightcast job postings report shows the median entry-level salary for cybersecurity analysts as $114,000 a year. The current Glassdoor figure for a cybersecurity analyst is $99,000 to $166,000 a year. Now, here's the honest caveat that I need you to hear before you screenshot that number and put it on your vision board, okay? That is a median for the role. What you can realistically expect is a career track that gets you to that number. The ceiling, however, is real. The path starts somewhere, and this program is a legitimate place to start. However, don't necessarily expect that your very first job that you land after, going from knowing absolutely nothing to getting into cybersecurity is going to be a 6-figure job. It's possible, but it's probably not going to happen. With that being said, a few years into your career, 6-figure job, very, very realistic. So I'm going to give this one a score of 9 out of 10 because there's not that many jobs out there that can get you to 6 figures that fast. And there are many people out there that are making multiple 6 figures a year in cybersecurity. Okay, next is the production value. And let me be real about something. Most online courses, even the expensive ones, feel like someone recorded their laptop screen at midnight in their bedroom with bad audio and called it education. And you know exactly what I mean. Boring presenter, robotic delivery, zero engagement, you finish it and barely remember what you watched. This is not that. Jake Lee, for instance, went through the entire program and said the content variety was extremely consistently excellent. Now, let me break down exactly what that means in practice. So the videos are about 2 to 8 minutes each. They're professionally filmed and edited by Google. There's animations, diagrams, and code walkthroughs built in, and about 14 hours of this content total across the full program. You also get readings, quizzes, flashcards, portfolio building exercises, and hands-on quick lab sessions where you're working with actual tools, not simulations. And the Coursera video player is built for learning. Playback speed is 0.75 to 2x, depending on what you want. There's full subtitles, a complete clickable transcript that highlights what's being said in real time, time-stamped note-taking, offline downloads. And Jake Lee, for instance, watched everything at 1.5x speed, which is fully supported, and it works perfectly. Now, Melissa Richards said that she had 0 complaints about the portfolio activities, noting that almost every course gives you a chance to actually use the tool or technical language that you just learned. And at this price point, the production value is exceptional. I'm gonna give this a score of 9 out of 10. And honestly, for what you're paying, the quality here is hard to beat. So this one gets a 9 out of 10 for production value. And the truth is, like, a lot of information out there you can just learn by, using AI. But there's a lot of visual stuff that AI doesn't do nearly as well. And let's be honest, you want the content presented in an entertaining or memorable way. And that's exactly what they do for you. And that's something that AI still can't do quite as well. Okay, next is your chances of getting hired. And let's have some real talk here. This is the section that everyone came for. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This certificate alone will not get you a job in 99% of cases. Let me say that again for the people skipping through. The certificate alone will not get you hired in 99% of cases, but this is a great stepping stone into a better career. Just as an example, this Reddit user started from 0, completed the Google cert, used it to prepare for Security Plus, passed Security Plus 20 days later, got an SOC analyst job within 1 year of starting from absolute nothing. 1 year, 0 to SOC analyst. The Google cert was step 1. Now, 90% of Security Plus is built into this program with a 30% discount on the exam at the end. And Google designed it that way. So this is not a standalone cert. This is Security Plus prep in disguise with labs attached. And when you complete this, you also get a free one-on-one job coaching, mock interviews, and interview practice tool, and direct access to a job board that these companies actually hire from. Plus the ability to share your profile with over 150 US employers who've committed to considering Google certificate graduates for entry-level roles. Now, the last number to leave you with is this. 75% of Google certificate graduates reported a positive career outcome, new job, promotion, or raise within 6 months of completion. So the path is clear. Finish it fast, grab the Security Plus discount, pass Security Plus, build your home lab, and apply. That is the play. So score here is 8 out of 10. Alone, it won't pass most HR filters for reasons that I explained before. As step 1 of a smart credential stack, it is one of the best, most affordable, most structured starting points available anywhere with a direct employer network attached. And I think a final thing that I'm gonna say about this is a great way for you to dip your toe in. You can even try it it completely free for 7 days. Again, click the link in the description in the pinned comment below, but it's a great way for you to dip your toe in without fully committing to something, right? And let's just say you dip your toe in, you try it for free for 7 days, you don't like it, or even a few days in, you don't like it. There's so many other Google certs out there that you can try, and they're gonna show you exactly the skills that you need to know to get hired, because that's what these Google professional certificates are designed to do. They're built by the companies, right? They're built by Google because of their frustration with people coming out and not knowing the skills that they actually need in the job market. So if you don't like cybersecurity, which let's be honest, a lot of people probably won't like cybersecurity, then you can try out some of the other ones like the data Google analyst certificate, et cetera, et cetera. So let's do a final score breakdown. Let's add it all up. So time to completion, 9 out of 10. Cost, 9 out of 10. Demand, 8 out of 10. Salary, 9 out of 10. Production value, 9 out of 10. Chances of getting hired, 8 out of 10. And a total score of 8.7 out of 10. There are some Google professional certificates where you actually have a pretty good puncher's chance at getting a job just with the certificate alone. This is really not one of them. It's a great stepping stone, but you probably are not going to get a job just with the certificate alone. But Google is smart enough to know that, which is why they actually tell you to go and get the Security Plus cert. Even though it's probably against their best interest because that's technically one of their competitors, right? But they actually tell you to go get that cert. And the whole course is designed to help you to pass the exam, which is absolutely brilliant. And it's also anti-competitive, so I really appreciate them doing this. So if you're a complete beginner who wants into one of the highest paying, fastest growing career fields on the planet with real tools, real labs, and a direct line to over 150 employers for potentially under $50, yeah, it's worth it. The risk isn't taking this course. The risk is staying exactly where you are. So again, you can try it 7 days completely free. Links in the description. Click that link down there. Also, they do have scholarships available for people who can't afford it for whatever reason. Again, you can click the link to check that out. And also check out this video right here where I go over all of the best Google certs.